What's going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have like and sub, and let's get into this. Dungeons and Dragons has been under an outright assault the last couple of months. I mean, it's probably been years, but just in the last couple of months, there's been one after the other. Um, I don't even know where to start. So I guess we'll just start at the beginning, and that is first the changes to orcs when they changed them from monsters to species, and they made them essentially Mexicans, but then they code them as black people. I know I'm confused too. This was, of course, the gordita abuelita over there on the cliff, and the shaved haircuts, and the colored hair, and the nose and septum. It's all fine. Look, the urban sombrero right there. Oh, isn't that nice? There's been a bunch. There's been a bunch. They've, as pointed out, BDSM fetish rules about making an X with your arms when you're uncomfortable, and having to have other trigger words and things like that. We've had someone who looked through the entire lore book of it, and there's like 100 and something pictures of many different ethnicities, and there's like 7 of actual white male characters. Also, we've seen the revisionist history of all the original OG players like Gary Gygax and Kuntz, who's about to be talking about how he feels. We've heard them be called all the racist, sexist, patriarchal white men, and so on and so forth. We've seen, of course, them separating succubus and incubus and essentially trans characters. And now we got this from Grums, who said half elves gone from the new Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook. Dungeons and Dragons 2024 has done so much damage to Dungeons and Dragons thanks to Wizards of the Coast's woke designers. They've removed half elves from the game due to it being somehow racist. What are they about racial purity now? How is that not even more racist? Removed half orcs, same reason. Removed orcs as monsters from the monster manual because they think orcs are black people, but it's okay. They made them Mexican in their new art instead. None of this was offensive to anyone previously. Yes, their virus infected brains are out of control and spinning racism where there is none. Oh, look, it was a moratorium if I've ever seen one. Yeah, so we have that. And now we've got Robert J. Kuntz. This is the original, one of the original creators. He said, they are now a species. And in the player's handbook, from what I understand, orcs, born of Tolkien, understood to be specifically tortured and changed elves and mutated life forms, born for pure evil purposes by wizardry and monstrous in kind, have now been added to civil society as just another species occurring in the evolutionary chain. They were just misunderstood all along, you see, and it is now your fault not to recognize that when they are slipping a blade into you, utter drivel, creative hackery at its best, a literary appropriation and postmodern obliteration of Tolkien's work and efforts, now made a mockery of on the world stage. Correct. And this is also what we saw with their rules for dungeons, for game masters, rather. If you are attacked by a gnoll, don't say it's all gnolls, or a goblin. Don't say it's all goblins. Say it's a goblin bandit or a goblin thief. You don't want to paint a whole brush over an entire species of fucking monsters. He continued here. Wizards of the Coast is in fact the appropriators of once understood and accepted culture, historical and now literary. They have crossed the Rubicon in stepping into fantasy fiction's big wheelhouse. What is next? With all such sincere and once literary consonant derivations, oh my God, from myth and fiction that TSR used while maintaining a semblance of truth according to the author's intent, be reinterpreted in kind. Read that 3 times fast. If I were a literary estate of a major fantasy fiction author, I would go nowhere near Wizards of the Coast, as they would likely remake such works from them in their worldview and not as intended by the author. Absolutely. There we see the whole thing. Not looking good. Once again, Kuntz has come out to lambaste them, and yeah, considering who it seems like they just hired the game director for Dragon Age the Veilguard for one of their new games they're going to publish, which we will be doing a video about shortly. Not looking good, but this is what we need. We just saw a whole plan for Games Workshop and Warhammer of targeted boycotting and specifically not buying certain products in order to get their stock to fall, ideally 20%, so that they are beholden to their stock holders. That's what the Dungeons and Dragons community needs to do to Wizards of the Coast. Targeted boycotting, not buying these new horrible books, not buying new figures and miniatures or anything like that, having them custom made, use proxy units, and being very vocal on the social media. Find YouTubers who will talk about this, amplify their voices, become a YouTuber yourself. Either way, become very vocal on YouTube and X and every other platform to force them to out the virus that is forcing these dumbass changes. Either way, let me know what you think about all this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.